Hey guys, Mikey20100 here. Today I'm going to do something a little different. Some of you may know that Steam Next Fest happened earlier this year, back in February 24th through March 3rd. If you don't know what it is, it's an event on Steam where publishers and developers for games will release demos for their upcoming titles. This happens 3 times every year. I looked at some demos last year in the winter Next Fest. I decided with the spring Next Fest, hey, why don't I try and make a video? Today is April 29th. That's 2 months since March 3rd. I've been dragging my feet a little bit. So each game's going to get a rating, and it'll be a rating between 1 and 5, with 5 being the highest since it's the bigger number, and 1 being the lowest. The way that I'm doing my rating, and this might change if I ever do this again, 5 is I will own this game. I really liked it, and I want to buy it. 4 is I really like this game, and I would like to get it. 3 is the game was fine. I wouldn't mind getting it if it's on sale or cheap enough, but I don't hate these. 2 is I had issues with this game. I would only get this if it's on a deep discount. And 1 is not great, won't get the game. So let's get started. The first demo that I played was Desktop Survivors 98. It is a Survivors-like game, so it's very similar to Vampire Survivors. This game has a really cool theme. You are playing on your desktop, and you're playing as your cursor. Huh? So all your abilities are references to the good old Windows 98. A lot of the enemies are like bats, skeletons, Reaper looking guys, all with some very retro looking pixel art. But you also have power-ups, which are the really cool things. Like you can shoot cursors at them. There's like the recycling bin that throws out files. You throw out the CD. Word art flies at enemies. A lot of cool little throwbacks to the old Windows 98. You could either play this on your actual desktop, where the game is essentially overlaid over your desktop, or you can use one of the default styles. I personally used the default Windows 98 desktop. I think it was just a really cool game. The demo only goes up to the first boss fight, but all in all, it took about 20 minutes to play through. And this game, I gave a 5-star with a giant yes that I will be adding it to the wish list. And hopefully it's in line with the other Survivors-like games where, they're about $5. And if that's the case, then this is definitely a day one buy for me. As of the recording of this video, Desktop Survivors 98 has a release date of Q2 2025. The next game on our list is Leftovers KO. It's a game developed by Mountain Man Animation, and it's published by Feardemic. What caught my eye with this game first was the art style. It's hand-drawn, but the theme is last night's leftovers. You beat up your leftovers, as in the name, Leftovers KO. And I'll be honest, I didn't play too much of the game, but I really love how it looks, and it plays a lot like Punch-Out. So if you're a fan of that type of gameplay and the art style, I recommend checking it out. For me, I gave it a 2. I think it's a really cool theme, but I am not a huge fan of the playstyle of Punch-Out. Maybe I'll come back to it. Maybe I'll have a Punch-Out renaissance. But for right now, I'm going to be passing it up. But if you like Punch-Out or the art style, definitely go for it. The next game on the list is Run TavernQuest. It is developed and published by Silicon Sundial. It's a different take on a text-based adventure game, likes of Zork, where you're not the adventure, you're the computer. You essentially control all the NPCs and the different events that happen in the game, while there's a player named Steve, who's making all sorts of interesting decisions. So you get to react to it, you get to deny or allow whatever text you put in to affect the world. So you're not the one entering the text, you're the one that's controlling what happens after the fact. It's not a text-based adventure game, but that is the theme of the game. You have multiple choices, there's some turn-based combat. It's a very, very interesting spin on that genre. I enjoyed my time playing this game. I thought the humor was pretty funny, and the different events that came up in the demo I thought were pretty hilarious. I do look forward to the full release. From my understanding, the demo is its own mini game. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this game. I thought it was funny, and I'm hoping that the full release keeps it up. I gave Run TavernQuest a 4 stars out of 5. And yes, I did add it to the wish list. I'm very interested in seeing what happens with this game. The next game on my list is Imaginytes. It's developed and published by Egum Games. It's a tower defense deck builder roguelite. I played this game for a little bit. I did the tutorial and then did part of a run to get a good feel of the game. You get to select several cards to put in your deck. So you start off the round and you draw a hand of 4 cards. Whenever you play a card, then you discard your hand and then draw a new hand of cards. There's essentially creatures or buildings and spells. So the creatures are persistent, you place them on the map. They kind of let you build a maze to corral the enemy waves. The spells are active effects, you cast them and then they might deal some damage to the enemy creatures. Or maybe they'll heal your creatures. And one of the interesting things with this is you don't have mana as a resource. Your resource is time. You're allowed to pause the game, and when it's paused, you can play your cards freely without having to worry about the enemy waves walking towards the portal. But when it's paused, you don't gain any resources, which is time. And so there's a counter at the top, and it accumulates when you have the game running. You just use that as your main resource. The goal of the game, just like any tower defense game, is to stop all the enemy waves and don't lose too much health. I thought it was pretty fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to this game's release. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, and yes, I did add it to the wish list. The 5th game on our list is Northwind. This is a game that's developed and published by Barking Kitten Interactive. It's a deck builder roguelike that is very reminiscent of Slay the Spire. They are doing a few different things, but the core gameplay is you drag cards on enemies. So if you're familiar with Slay the Spire, this game would be like second nature to you. I did say they are trying some different things. One of the things that they're trying is you can level up your character in-game. You get mana each turn, like you do in Slay the Spire, but if you were to end your turn with extra mana, you get to keep that mana into the next turn. So you can store mana. One of the reasons why they do this is to level up your character. Leveling up allows you to cast spells, have stronger effects, or cast an upgraded version of a spell. So for example, the basic attack costs 1 mana and it deals 4 damage. But if your character is level 2, it deals 6 damage. And at level 3, you deal a total of 8 damage. Every spell has something like this. There's other types of cards that aren't just spells. One of the examples is equipment. Like there was a pair of gloves that gave you strength, but your character had to be level 2 before you could equip it. But once you're level 2, you can just put it on your character and now you have this buff for the rest of that fight. Enemies can attack or defend, and the lower level enemies tell you like what they're going to be doing. So it's easy to play around, like, oh, if they're defending, I can store mana, so I can go for a level up next turn. Or I need to defend right now because they're going to hit me with a strong hit. The map is also reminiscent of Slay the Spire. I only played the tutorial, which was just a straight line, but you can see how this would branch off into different routes with different icons for the different types of enemies, whether they be regular enemies, elite, maybe a random event, etc. I really enjoyed Slay the Spire. The game looks like Slay the Spire and plays a whole lot like it, but it's different enough mechanically. And for this game, I give it 4 out of 5 stars, and yes, I did add this to my wish list. Currently on Steam, it has a release date of 2025. The 666th game on our list is Deck of Haunts. It's developed by Mantis and published by Dangan Entertainment and GameSource Entertainment. This is another deck builder roguelike where you are a haunted mansion. So if you think like, for those of you who played Magic the Gathering, this reminded me a lot of Duskborn. You are the mansion, and your goal is to eliminate any unfortunate people who enter your mansion. So you can do this by straight up killing them or making them go insane. There are 2 different phases of the game. There's the phase where you have the visitors who come to your mansion and you accompany them. And then there's the second phase once you've dealt with them, where you build up your mansion and add new rooms, add expansions to different rooms, and these rooms give different buffs. They alter the layout of the mansion, so the visitors will have to go to more rooms, and the game will last more turns because they have to take a longer scenic route to get to the core. So what is this core? The core is essentially your health. It's your nexus. It's where the visitors are going to go and attack it. Normally, the visitors, when they enter the round, they're not gunning straight for your core. They'll just be wandering around. Once you deal with one of the visitors and another witnesses the aftermath, they will run out the mansion and call for help. And then that help will go straight for your core. You're trying to stealthily eliminate everyone or cause them to go insane. Each character has their own health bar and sanity meter, and you can choose how to deal with them. In essence, gameplay loop is this. Round 1, you take out everyone playing your cards. Round 2, you build up your mansion, make it harder for survivors to make it through. Newer survivors come in, they have better stats. Hopefully you have better cards to counteract them. I thought it was pretty fun. It's another take on a roguelike deck builder. I thought the aesthetic was pretty cool. I thought the gameplay was pretty cool. I gave this one 3 stars out of 5. The Steam page says that it was released on May 7th, 2025. Alright, so here's a brief little intermission. It's now August 23rd. I've been taking my sweet time getting around to making this video and the July Next Fest videos. And yeah, doing 20 plus games for one of these videos is way too much. And I'm now finding that out after 6 months. So I'm going to try something different. Instead of doing the in-depth, not super in-depth, but more in-depth than what I'm about to do, analyses, I'm going to rapid fire some of the games that I've rated low, and a couple others that are pretty self-explanatory. First up, The Phantom, developed by Art of Play Interactive and published by Art of Play Interactive. This game was released on March 12, 2025. It was not released when I started doing these videos. This is a beat-em-up game based off the hero character, The Phantom. It's just a classic beat-em-up game like you would see in arcades back in the day. I thought it was fine, but I gave it a 2. The next game is Boogey Hunters. This is a game developed by Keep the Engine Games and published by Rogue Duck Interactive. Game came out June 7th, 2025. Again, wasn't released when I started this video. This is another roguelike deck builder. It's a fairly simple game where you are hunting boogies. The game was fine. Presentation's pretty simple. I enjoyed it for the little bit that I played. I gave this one a 3. Next game is Symphorix, developed by On Trigger Joy and published by On Trigger Joy. This game came out on July 1st. Wasn't released when I started making this video. And this one is a rhythm space shooter game where the different parts of the ship that you make, they interact with the song based on what instrument they are. So kind of like how Beat Hazard fires weapons based on the rhythm of the song, this has the different parts of the ship that fire or activate depending on the instrument and the part of the song that you're on. I think it's really cool. It was confusing for me, and it seemed like it was just lacking something, and I'm not sure what. But this is a game that I'm interested in seeing how it develops. I just don't think I'm smart enough for it. I gave this one a 2. Next game is Nice Day for Fishing. It's developed by Fusion Play and published by Team 17. Came out March 12th, 2025. It wasn't released when I started this video. So the game is based off of the Epic NPC Man universe from Viva La Dirt League. They're a YouTube channel that does different skits. This game follows Balin as he tries to help out the town. I really wanted to like this game, but the gameplay loop just wasn't hooking me. Unfortunately, I was waiting for the demo to reach its endpoint. Like, I was just waiting for a boss or something. I had to stop. I just wasn't having as much fun as I would have liked. The fishing minigame is fun for me at first, but I'm giving this one a 2. Alright, the next rapid fire game is a game that I added last minute to this list. It's called Is the Seat Taken? It's developed by Pulley Pulley Studios and published by Wholesome Games Presents. It came out August 7th, 2025, and it is a nice little puzzle game, is what I wrote in my notes. It's a simple puzzle game where you have to move all these passengers on different modes of transport, but some of them like different things or dislike certain people. Maybe there's a character that wants to be seated at a window seat, but they smell. So then you have another person who hates smelly people and has to sit 3 seats away. Your goal is to get everyone on the bus without any complaints. The demo was pretty short. I got what I wanted out of it. It's what I expected. I liked it. I am giving it a 3. The next game is Telegraphist 1920. It's developed by Cube Potato Games and published by Cube Potato Games. It has a release date of 2025, and it's a Morse code rhythm game. And I think it's fine. There's the different dots, dashes, and weights. I like the aesthetic. I believe it's like World War II, World War I-ish aesthetic. Well, 1920, World War I. The game is a World War I aesthetic. And so, yeah, I thought it was a cool theme. It's a rhythm game. It has Morse code. I gave it a 3. Next game, Game of Thrones Kingsroad. This is developed by Netmarble Neo and published by Netmarble. It came out May 21st, 2025. This is a Game of Thrones game. I'm a huge fan of the show and the books. This game looked really cool. And then I found out it's a phone game. And not just that, but it is a free-to-play phone game. Graphics look nice. The gameplay was fairly basic. I am a little disappointed. I don't know what I was expecting, but I gave it a 3. It's fine for what it is. I wish it was better. Alright, the next 2 games will be fairly quick. Monster Train 2. It's like Monster Train 1. I think they added a couple of card types, and instead of going to hell, you're going to heaven. And Among Us 3D. It's Among Us in 3D. Both of those I threw on my wish list. I liked both series. They are both out now. They were released in May after I started editing this video. Alright, on to the next game. The 8th game on our list is the aptly named Angry Video Game Nerd 8-Bit. This game is developed by Megacat Studios and Programmancer. It is published by Retroware. This is the 3rd Angry Video Game Nerd game that's been released. The first one came out in around 2013, and it had a sequel. For those of you who don't know, Angry Video Game Nerd was originally a YouTuber back in like the early 2000s, about 20 years ago. So I played a part of a level. The game is kind of hard. It's replicating the feel of the old 8-bit NES era games. The game is loaded with references to both Angry Video Game Nerd and the classic NES games. The music sounds great, especially when they go for the 8-bit sound. The aesthetic of the game is 8-bit NES games. So the level selection screen is obviously taken from Mega Man. The level that I played is Castlevania. Your character plays like Mega Man. You have just the blaster, and you have like the slide, which great games to take inspiration from. And I enjoyed this game. I need to play the original 2 AVGN games a bit more. Games are hard, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from this game. This game I gave a rating of 4 out of 5 stars, and yes, I have added this to my wish list. I enjoy Mega Man. I enjoy Angry Video Game Nerd. Hopefully this game isn't a load of Angry Video Game Nerd 8-Bit has a release date of coming soon. 100 Line Last Defense Academy is the next game on our list. This game I had written as Danganronpa, but it's a turn-based defense game. If you're familiar, that game was a visual novel plus not necessarily a minigame, but it was the courtroom action game. This game's similar, where it's a visual novel plus defense game. You play as Takumi Sumino, and he's just living a normal everyday life. Every day is boring, but apparently they have a dome over their town, and if you can believe it, things go wrong, and he gets powers. After that, you're introduced to a cast of characters like Danganronpa, and there's one of the characters who her whole gimmick is an inside joke about killing games. The defense portion of the game is very similar to other turn-based strategy RPGs. Think like Fire Emblem. You're on a grid map. Your character can move on anywhere on the map where it's green, and they can attack on any spot that's red. So fairly basic. This game has different abilities that you can use. One thing that I noticed was you select the ability before you move. So you select the ability, then you move, and then you attack to activate it, instead of moving and then choosing the ability. The gameplay, it's what I expected. So I'm going to leave a little clip here of something that I noticed, and I thought it was a little funny. Uh-oh. Matt.
What have now?
So I'm actually in the gameplay now, right?
Yeah.
So I hover over my character, right? See, like, all that. That's cool, right? Enemies just have generic icons. The other supposed main character doesn't have an icon.
Oh, I've got bad news.
Uh-oh. So then after the combat encounter is when we were introduced to the characters, and I just did a little bit of the story, but I didn't play for too long because I knew I wouldn't remember most of what was happening until I actually get the game. I enjoy the Danganronpa games and those types of visual novels. I'll be picking this up. I gave this one 5 stars. These next 2 games are a couple of rhythm games. The first one is Projekt Godhand. Projekt Godhand is a rhythm game that looks a lot like an 8-key rhythm game, but The actual keys that you press, it plays a lot more like a 2x4 rhythm game. It plays more like a 2-key rhythm game, but or an 8-key, but half of the keys you press don't matter. So, to explain, it uses 2 halves of the keyboard, and the button that you press on that half does not matter. What does matter is how many keys you press at the same time, if there's multiple keys on the same row in the same half. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. But you don't have to hit like ASDF, GHJK as your 2 halves. You just hit whatever's on that other half. So it's very different. Timing still matters, and there is a health gauge, so you can't just mash willy-nilly, even though you kinda can. It had a cute little tutorial where the song of the tutorial was the tutorial itself. Enjoyed that. The gameplay, fairly basic, but there's probably more depth than what I was seeing on the surface because, you know, I only played like 2 songs. I enjoyed it. I'm giving this one a 3.5. I'm just going to put a 3 here. And I did put it on my wish list. I enjoyed it. It's a little bit different. This game was developed and published by Anarch Entertainment, and it came out May 8th, 2025. But now, this next game tries to be a lot like Guitar Hero and Rock Band. And oh boy, I have some comments. So this game is Sonic Surge Rhythm Showdown. It is developed and published by Crow Visuals. This game is a 5-key game, so that sounds all fine and dandy. The gameplay was not too great. As you can see in some of the gameplay that I'm showing right now, this game has a very generous timing window. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when the game rates your timing precision, it just looks odd seeing a perfect pop up about a half second after you've pressed the key. There were 4 songs in the demo. I was unable to change the difficulty for the songs. I don't know if this is because there is no difficulty selection and the songs only have 1 chart, or if there's future charts planned. It seemed strange that I couldn't choose the difficulty. I did play the hardest song on here, and unfortunately it was only set to hard, so I wasn't able to try out the hardest difficulty, which in this game is extreme. But going off the hard chart, it felt lacking, but then again, it's hard. It's not the hardest difficulty, but I kind of wish it was harder. There was a lot of tapping in the song, but everything was charted as a sustain. So I'm hoping in the full release in extreme mode, those sustains would be multiple different notes. The lack of difficulty selection and charting pale in comparison to my biggest complaint about this game, and that's the announcer. So Guitar Hero, Rock Band, they'll have note streaks pop up, at least the older ones did. This game has an announcer that constantly says, "Good job, nice combo," things of that nature. And he doesn't shut up. Here, have a listen for yourself.
Feel the rhythm. Well done. Combo. Awesome. Groovy.
So that was the intro of the song, and that was about, 7 to 10 seconds? And he made 3 different comments. That's way too much. I just want to hear the song, and I just wanted to see the perfect flow through. I don't need to hear any commentary. Other than that, the game's fairly basic. The songs, they sounded fine. The song selection was fine. I didn't care too much for the charting or being locked in certain difficulties, and the announcer is very, very annoying. This game still says it's coming soon. I did put this on my wish list just because I'm interested in seeing if they improve anything about the game. But I gave this game a 2. Please shut up the announcer. Please chart your tapping notes. Please make the game feel good. Next game. Alright, here come another few quickies. Next game is Nine Kings, developed by Sad Socket and published by Hooded Horse and Instinct 3. It came out May 23rd, 2025. This game was recommended to me by a friend who tried it out during the fest, and so I tried it out. It's a roguelike deck builder, kind of, not really. You have a 3x3 grid where you build structures that builds an army, gives you some abilities, lets you get resources, and then you have to beat other armies that come and attack you after each round. It has a lot of the roguelike deck builder mechanics, where you get new cards, or in this case their buildings, after each round. In the demo there were about 4 playable kings, full release. They've been adding kings since the game came out, and I believe they're up to 8, with the 9th one coming soon. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4, and if it's worth anything, my friend, Ruts1, says he really likes it. Next game, Kill the Music, developed by Nico Nico and published by Nico Nico. It came out August 21st, 2025. This game is a rhythm survivors-like, where your attacks and enemy movements and attacks are done to the beat of the music. So as long as you're on beat, you can power up your attacks, you can dodge, use special abilities, increase your combo counter, etc, etc. I didn't play too much of this. I did the tutorial and then just part of a run, just to get the feel of it. I thought it was fine. I gave it a 3. I did add to the wish list. I liked the little bit that I played of it, but it didn't hook me. Next game is Chaos Front. It's developed by Han Jiu and published by Chaos Galaxy Studio. It currently has a release date of 2025. It has a retro pixel art style. You command a fleet, but during the combat you can send your crew out there to attack. So you have ships that can attack, and then you have people that can attack. There's an overworld grid where you can go and do missions. I enjoyed it. I'm giving it a 3. I really like the art style and just the general vibe. Space is cool. Next game for the space theme is Void War. If you've played FTL, or Faster Than Light, then you've played Void War. This game looks and plays exactly like FTL. Not saying it's a bad thing. The art style is very reminiscent of FTL, and so is just about everything else about it. But there's cults. From the little bit that I played of this game focuses more on crew versus crew battles. So it's FTL, but more crew combat, which I think is cool. And there's cults. Void War is published and developed by Tundra, and it came out June 2nd, 2025. The next game for this quickie section is He Is Coming. It is developed by Chronocol and published by Hooded Horse. Came out July 17th, 2025. This game is an auto-battling roguelike. You move your character on an overworld, you find encounters, get items, etc. You need to fight bosses. It has old-style graphics, kind of like Loop Hero. I think it looks fine. The gameplay was fine. I gave it a 4. You can see the gameplay. That's all I've seen so far. Alright, next game. KAAMOS. Developed by Pepperbox Studios and published by Indie.io. It came out April 28th, 2025. It looks very similar in art style to the previous game, He Is Coming. This is a puzzle battler roguelike. Like Puzzle Quest, instead of swapping 2 gems, you slide the whole row or column, and then whatever matches you get there, that's the attack or armor or defense that you get, and that's it. It's pretty simple. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 3. Next game is Sweet. It's developed and published by On Production, or On Dot Production with a period. It came out April 11th, 2025. This is Balatro Dungeons. You draw a hand of like 13-ish cards. You make poker hands to deal damage and other types of effects. As you progress, you get more cards or items, abilities, etc. It's a roguelike deck builder, but with poker hands. It's Balatro. I give this one a 3. The last game I'm doing a quickie for is Moorhuhn Kart 4. Apparently there's been 3 others of this game. It's developed by Korayon Interactive and published by Marked plus Technic Vertag Gimp H. It came out March 13, 2025. You can play as farm animals, not to be confused with Mario Kart World. The one track that I raced on was on a farm. The game, to me, felt like it was trying to be Mario Kart 8. It's just Mario Kart 8, but a lot worse. Cool thing with the demo is it had online multiplayer. I was unable to play it with anyone because no one wanted to play with me, so I couldn't test that out. There's different items. It's a kart racer. It's like Mario Kart. This is the game I gave it 1 to. I'm sorry, but it just didn't do it for me. The next game on my list is TMNT Tactical Takedown. It's developed and published by Strange Scaffold. It was released on May 22nd, 2025. This is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. It's a strategy game where you take control of a turtle and you go through different levels and you have to beat all the bad guys and make it to the end. The demo was the first couple chapters of the story mode. It showed you how to play and it gave a little bit of the story. I'm not going to go too much into the story, but pretty much turtles are getting attacked by the foot, so you got to stop them. The gameplay, each turtle has about 2 or 3 different unique abilities, and then they have a basic attack depending on what their weapon is and a movement ability. Your character has 6 health and 6 action points. Each ability costs a different amount of action points, denoted by the shuriken, and deals a different amount of damage, denoted by the, I guess that's an X, marked by the power. Enemies have a varying amount of health, somewhere between like 2 or 3 health, at least enemies early on. You can do as many actions as you have ability power. You want to defeat the enemies and progress through the map. This isn't just a stationary map. Every turn, or every couple of turns, the stage will show red and green hazard lines. The red means that part of the stage is about to fall, and any statuette, any player on there is going to fall and instantly die. And then the green is where a new part of the map will get built. You're constantly moving, defeating enemies, just trying to make it to the end. Some turtles have an action where they knock enemies back. So you can knock them into walls, but more importantly, you can knock them off the stage for an instant KO. I thought that was pretty fun. All in all, it's a Ninja Turtles game. It's styled like a tabletop game where your characters are styled like statuettes. Every time you take an action or get hit, they do a different pose. I had fun with this game. I spent about an hour in the demo, and I gave this one a 5 out of 5. I am adding it to my wish list. I am biased because I do like the Turtles, and I do like strategy games like this. The penultimate game on the list is Megabonk. This is a game that's developed and published by Vedinand. It came out September 18th, 2025, and this is another Survivors-like. This game, unlike most Survivors-like, which are 2D, top-down, this one is a 3D, third-person perspective. And in it, you get to, just like any other Survivors-like, you walk around and kill enemies and level up. You're not the one that's doing the attacks. They're all done automatically, so they automatically target the nearest enemy. There were a variety of weapons, like fireballs and sword slashes, so the classic. The map, it's a big map, but it's not infinite like, say, Vampire Survivors. Most of those maps are just infinitely scrolling. This one is not. And since it's in 3D, you get the third dimension, so that means you can jump in this game. Oh boy, can you jump. One of the items increases your movement speed. Another increases your jump. I played around with that a little bit, and you can go flying. Not actual flying, but you can avoid enemies if you so desired. I had fun with the movement in this game. You get the overpowered feeling when you level up your abilities and weapons, just like any other Survivors like, where your character is just spraying shots everywhere. This was a fun game for me. I enjoy Survivors like. I like the take on it going in 3D, especially with the mobility. I gave this one a 4 out of 5, and I did put it on my wish list. I will be looking at this game in the future. The final game on the list is Aethermancer. This is a game that's developed by Moorhuhn Games and published by Off-Brand Games. Off-Brand Games is the same publisher as Rivals of Aether 2. So Moorhuhn Games also developed a game that I played before called Monster Sanctuary. I 100%ed it on Xbox. So yeah. Unlike Monster Sanctuary, where it's a Metroidvania, Aethermancer is a roguelike. So you start off with your starter monster, you adventure in the isometric top-down world, capturing a couple other monsters. Your creatures have health, obviously, and once it goes down, they die. You can resurrect them, but the resurrection points are few and far in between. And there's also enemy Aethermancers that you need to defeat. You can get items and resources to buff your team, you know, classic roguelike. There's different paths at the end of each area. Your eventual goal is to get to the final, I think it was like a castle, and beat the boss. I played about an hour and a half of this game, which was only one run, and I got to a castle ruins, so I'm guessing that's like the endpoint for the demo. Unfortunately, my team got cooked, literally. There's a point where your run's going well, and then you lose a core monster, and then everything just goes downhill from there. I enjoyed this one. I gave this one a rating of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. It is fun. This game's coming out September 24th, so it's not even out yet. Holy crap, a game on my list that's not out yet? By the time I finally finish this after a half year? Wow. I can't believe I finally finished recording for this video. This has been about a half year of me just pushing this off. There has even been another Next Fest since I started this one. So I still need to work on that video. I actually need to still finish playing the demos that I was going to play for that Next Fest. And hopefully I'll finish that before the October Next Fest, which is in a month. But yeah, I guess for this little wrap up, I will say that probably my favorite game, at least my favorite demo from this batch, was Aethermancer and Desktop Survivors 98. I've really been wanting to get Void War, the TMNT game, and 100 Line Last Defense. So pretty much my 5 stars are games that I still, looking back on it, I still want to play more of those games. Maybe I move Megabonk up. I've still been thinking about that game. That one was fun. Projekt Godhand, maybe I kind of want to play more of. Chaos Front, maybe Imaginytes. Let's see on those 2 stars. Yeah, I'm really curious in seeing what Sonic Surge is doing, but that one still says coming soon. But I'm kind of rambling. This was definitely a project. Yeah, and it's September 7th, 2025, and I'm finally finishing my last recording. It was fun. Trying to remember the games from like months ago after I played them is rough. I generally wrote down like a line about the game, but that's different from like freshly experiencing the game. So if I'm inaccurate, sorry, I'm just a guy on the internet. I did enjoy my time with most of these games. Well, like I guess each game had something that I enjoyed about it, so I didn't feel like anything was a waste. Even if I gave it a 1 or 2, there were still things I liked about it. I'll have at least 2 more of these. Hopefully they won't be as long. If you made it this far, I'd just like to say thanks for watching.